wisdom has to do with the mind, stature has to do with the physical aspect of life, then favor with God has to do with the spiritual aspect of life, and then favor with man, the social aspect of life.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my dear.
Today is International Youth Day, and with over 90% of our team representing the vibrant energy of youth, we would like to draw inspiration from your wealth of experience, sir, by asking you a few questions.
Please go ahead.
Sir, what mindset shifts do you think today's youth need to truly drive change?
Okay, thank you very much, my General Manager, Uzonna. I find this question very, very interesting. And of course, the moment you asked, I was smiling, and then I had to, put myself together because it's a very serious question. Because I see a lot of injustice in our world today, which will lead to chaos and total collapse of our system if we continue this way. Because I see a lot of youth who are supposed to be celebrated, they are being relegated to the background, they are being pushed aside. They don't even have access to speak where it matters. And then you see a lot of youths who are supposed to bury their face in shame. They are the ones being celebrated by the people that matter. That is to tell you how deep darkness has eaten into our world. And I think that something needs to be done. What do we need to do is to begin to sensitize, to begin to teach the youth to unlearn and relearn so that we can have a Nigeria of our dreams, so that we don't totally lose out in the future. Let me answer your question this way. I've always made it a point of call to let people know who I am, because I believe that every business, every organization represents an agenda. So most founders will not say this, but God has raised me for such a time as this to be able to uncover this. So how do we now push against this darkness? Because people on the altar of money, they sacrifice everyone else. Most times they even sacrifice themselves. But does it mean that you can't be legit and still be successful? You can. Illegitimate way of making money has now become the legitimate way. That most times even people who are supposed to be the one against these things are encouraging it. And you see some people, they will tell you, I will just spend how many days in prison and I will come out and all that. So they believe with money they can buy their way. What do we do? In the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 52, I just want to draw a big lesson on what the youth needs to do. Those who still want to follow the genuine way. Because in life, you decide what you want to do. You decide which path you want to take. In Luke chapter 2, verse 52, and Jesus grew in wisdom. Most times when I say what I say, I'm not saying that you should take away the role of knowledge, the role of wisdom, the role of understanding, the role of discernment. You need all that. By all means, go to school. Get a master's degree, get a first degree, get a PhD if you can. Get everything you need to get intellectually, because you will need it. And Jesus grew in wisdom. So wisdom represents that mind aspect of life. Knowledge, understanding, discernment. And if you go further, you say Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature. Then you also need to grow physically. And that's where you have exercise, eating right, taking care of yourself, your diet, making sure that you keep this body fit. Hygiene, everything comes under stature. Then if you go further, you see Jesus grew in wisdom, in stature, in favor with God. So that has to do with the spiritual aspect of life. As a youth, you must understand the role of spirituality. You know why? Because if you don't acknowledge how spiritual this world is, you'll be frustrated. You will think it's just about wisdom, that is the mind, stature, that is the body. And then you see people who have wisdom, who have knowledge, some even studied in Harvard, they started business, but they are not moving forward. Why? Because nobody told them that life is spiritual. So you need favor with God. And then lastly, Jesus grew in favor with man. I call it the 4 cardinal aspects of life. You have to grow in wisdom, you have to grow in stature, you have to grow in favor with God and in favor with man. That is where you have customer service. That's where you need to know how to service, how to greet people courtesy, how to use magic words, sir, ma, Please, excuse me. These are the things that are lacking in our world. Everybody's angry. The youth are angry. Nobody want to care about the next person. Social aspect of life is not about drinking, clubbing, but that's not what favor with man used to be. It used to be about demure. It used to be about interpersonal relationship. It used to be about empathy. It used to be about sympathy too. Where you care for the next person genuinely. It's favor with man. And these are what a lot of people have gotten a lot of favors in life because they saw someone and they smiled and then they greeted the person. Today, even in Irvin Global, a lot of people are doing business with us, not because we are the best, not because our interest rate is the best in the market, but because the way we attend to them, the way you carry yourself, the way your GMD carries himself, the way our employees behave. So you must be able to maintain this four cardinal aspects of life. Wisdom has to do with the mind. Stature has to do with the physical aspect of life. Then favor with God has to do with the spiritual aspect of life. And then favor with man, the social aspect of life. I hope I
Absolutely.
made sense a little
Yes,
bit.
this
Yeah.
is so profound.